You know that moment when you think, okay, to really get serious about investing, I need a mountain of cash first.
Right?
Like it's some exclusive club with a crazy high entry fee.
Totally. It's a common thought.
Generate growth.
Well, one really fascinating development, something that's truly leveled the playing field, is fractional shares.
Yeah. Yes. Tell us more about that.
What's really remarkable is how it's democratized the stock market. I mean, the idea that you can own just a tiny piece, a sliver of a huge company, even if one share costs hundreds or thousands, that's pretty new, mostly thanks to platforms like Robinhood, Webull, Fidelity,
Yeah.
those types.
Right. So you don't need $3,000 to buy one share of Amazon. You could put your $100 towards a fraction of it.
Exactly. And for beginners, starting with companies you already know, companies you're familiar with, and really focusing long term, that aligns perfectly.
Less intimidating, maybe?
Yeah, it's about understanding how businesses grow over time, not trying to chase quick short-term gains. And, crucially, reinvesting any earnings, no matter how small. That's key to getting that compounding effect going early.
Right. Even tiny dividends, put them back in, let them work too. That snowball effect. Okay, so that's one modern route. Shifting gears a bit, maybe to something more traditional, but still really effective. Our sources also pointed to high-yield savings accounts.
Yeah, often overlooked. When you think about risk versus reward, these accounts offer a really secure, easily accessible way for that first $100 to earn interest. It's gradual, sure.
Slower pace.
Slower pace, exactly. But the difference in interest rates you can get, especially from online banks, sometimes 4% or even more annually compared to the, frankly, tiny rates at most traditional banks, that's compelling.
Definitely worth looking into.
It's a really low-stakes way to see your money grow, even just a little bit, while you're maybe learning about other potentially higher growth options.
Okay, so it's not going to set the world on fire overnight, but it's solid. A low-risk foundation while you learn.
Got it.
Yeah. Let's pivot to something that needs a bit more, well, active involvement, something that could offer faster growth. Flipping items for profit.
Ah, yes. The hustle approach.
This is where that $100 can really be put to work through effort and a bit of savviness.
This taps right into being resourceful, spotting opportunities, finding those market inefficiencies. The basic idea is simple. Find undervalued items.
Where, though?
Well, garage sales,
Yeah.
thrift stores, you can find amazing hidden gems, sometimes clearance racks,
Yeah.
places like that.
Okay.
And then you resell them for a higher price. Platforms like eBay, Facebook Marketplace are great for this. We even saw a really compelling example in the research. Someone consistently turning maybe $50 investments into thousands, just through consistent flipping.
Wow. That's impressive.
It is, and beyond just the profit potential, this approach teaches you so much. Real-world lessons in business, sales, negotiation, figuring out market value.
It's like a hands-on mini MBA. Seriously. And it shows clearly how that initial $100 can be actively used to generate more capital, maybe relatively quickly.
Absolutely.
Okay, building on that idea, then leveraging skills. A bit of initiative, the sources also talked about starting a micro side hustle.
Yeah, what's interesting here is the focus on using skills you already have, or maybe proactively learning some new in-demand ones.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, anything really. Video editing, maybe graphic design, online tutoring, even practical stuff like dog walking or basic home repairs. That initial $100, you use it strategically, maybe for some essential tools, some targeted online ads, setting up a very basic website.
Gotcha. The startup capital.
Exactly. And platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, they already have marketplaces set up to connect you with clients.
Yeah.
The key insight here, I think, is you don't need to be some world-class expert from day one.
Right.
You just need to offer something valuable to people or businesses who, well, need it and can't do it themselves.
Find a need, fill it, for a price. Simple as that in theory. And again, that $100 is like the fuel to get that little entrepreneurial engine started.
Precisely.
Okay, now for something maybe a bit less conventional, but it seems to be gaining traction. Microloans and peer-to-peer lending also came up.
Right. So platforms like Lending Club, Prosper, they essentially let you act like a mini bank. You lend small amounts to individuals or businesses and you earn interest. Kiva is similar, but often focus more on supporting entrepreneurs in developing countries, sometimes with a social impact angle. Now, the potential returns can be higher than, say, a savings account.
But there's a catch, I assume.
Well, yeah, risk. There's always the risk that borrowers might default on their loans. So doing your homework on the platform itself, and really importantly, diversifying your small investments across several different loans. That's crucial risk management.
Definitely sounds like an area needing careful thought. Due diligence is key there. Okay, let's circle back to something more mainstream in the investment world. Low-cost exchange-traded funds, ETFs.
Oh, yeah.
These seem like a particularly smart move for beginners, especially if you want diversification without picking individual stocks.
That's exactly their strength, especially when you're starting small. Instant diversification. You buy into an ETF that tracks a broad market index, like the S&P 500.
Which is the top 500 U.S. companies, basically.
Right, so your initial investment is immediately spread across hundreds of businesses. And apps, user-friendly apps like Acorns or M1 Finance, they've made it incredibly simple to invest even tiny amounts regularly into these funds.
Takes the pressure off.
It really does. It's a relatively low-stress way to just participate in the overall growth of the economy.
Yeah, it removes that huge initial hurdle of, okay, which one company do I bet on? Instead, you get broad exposure straight away.
Nice. Now, we touched on reinvesting earnings earlier, but let's really dive into the power of compound interest. Because our sources just kept coming back to this. It seems fundamental.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. This is where time really becomes your superpower, compound interest. It's basically earning returns not just on your initial money, but also on the interest or profits you've already made.
Interest on interest.
Exactly. There was this one example in the research. It showed that investing just $100 consistently every month, earning an average of 10% per year, potentially grows to over $10,000 in just over 6 years.
Wow, from just $100 a month. Yeah, primarily thanks to the power of that compounding effect. The huge takeaways here are: start as early as you possibly can and be consistent. Stick to that investment schedule. Time is genuinely your most valuable asset when it comes to harnessing compounding.
It really is like a financial chain reaction, isn't it? Gains generate more gains, and it just builds and builds over time. And the absolutely critical fuel for that reaction,
Reinvesting profits.
consistently. Our sources basically said it's non-negotiable.
Precisely. Doesn't matter where the profit comes from, flipping an item, stock dividends, side hustle income. The discipline to put those earnings back into your wealth building engine. That's what drives the whole thing forward.
Resisting the urge to spend those small wins.
Exactly. Resisting that immediate gratification and putting the money back to work. That's how you build real momentum. That's how you turn that initial $100 into something truly significant.
Right, creating that positive feedback loop.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap. We've covered quite a range here.
Yep.
From setting clear goals and the importance of continuous learning.
To using things like fractional shares, high yield savings, the hustle of flipping or side gigs,
Microloans, ETFs.
and underpinning it all, that incredible power of compound interest fueled by constantly reinvesting.
And when you tie all those threads together, back to that initial question, can you turn $100 into $10,000? It becomes pretty clear it's not just a pipe dream. It's not about luck.
No.
It's an entirely achievable goal, but it's grounded in making informed choices and, maybe most importantly, cultivating consistent financial habits.
Absolutely. The core principles that just kept emerging from all the material were: start where you are, however small, stay focused on your why, your goals, and just persistently build momentum, proactive effort, disciplined reinvestment.
You don't need to wait for some perfect moment or a big windfall.
No, the best time to start, as the sources really emphasized, is right now, with whatever you have right now.
So whether you're drawn more to investing in stocks or the hands-on feel of flipping goods or maybe the freedom of freelancing, the most critical step is just starting.
Just begin.
Yeah. Be patient with it. Stay consistent with whatever strategy you choose, and really commit to it being a journey of learning and growth.
Well said. So maybe here's a final thought to leave everyone with. Thinking about everything we've discussed, what's one small, consistent financial habit you can consciously choose to put in place, maybe starting today, that could be the very first seed of your future financial growth?